Exactly. It's the fireworks display that we get ahead of a lot of Premier League games nowadays. There's a big blue flag draped across the fans at the top tier of the Shed end away to our left-hand side, which proudly states that it is the Shed, and a big circular Chelsea flag being shaken for all it's worth across the centre circle as the two sets of players make the long walk across the halfway line and now begin the regular pre-match handshakes. Weather-wise, Lee Dixon, this is a lovely evening to be kicking a ball around and getting paid for it.
It is, and they've watered the pitch as well. It's absolutely perfect, and I don't know whether that was reflected in the way that the boys out there were warming up, because there was a real snap. I was watching Burnley warm up, really high intensity, and the same with Chelsea, so both sets of players are really fired up for this one. I used to love playing in the evenings. Just
talking about the contrast in Burnley's two halves of the season. 3 wins in the first 19 games. They only took 11 points. They were obviously in the Europa League at the start of the season as well, which caused its own problems. 8 wins in the next 15 games. Henry Winter was saying how important Sean Dyche has been to that. As soon as Henry was saying that, we got a close-up on the tunnel, and the first Burnley player I saw was the goalkeeper Tom Heaton. And this is not being harsh on Joe Hart at all, but his return between the sticks for Burnley has been massive this season, Lee. He has been brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he pointed out McNeil as well coming into the side, but Tom Heaton is just... It's almost like they've gone back to basics all over the pitch. They've settled down in the way they're happy with what DNA they've got in that club, and everybody seems to know their job. They got a little bit lost, throughout this season, but they seem to be, when you look at them now, it looks like Burnley. Obviously the kit's the same, but they look like a Burnley side, the way they set up and the way they go about their work.
Win tonight and they're definitely safe. It'll be a 4th consecutive season of Premier League football for them, which will be another feather in Sean Dyche's cap. And from Chelsea's point of view, as we've been saying, what a weekend of Premier League football it's been for them. I mean, I bet they can't believe their luck. Tottenham losing at Manchester City, okay, they might have expected that. Arsenal losing at home to Crystal Palace, and Manchester United absolutely walloped at Goodison Park yesterday. So a win tonight for Chelsea would take them to 69 points. Tottenham would be on 67. Arsenal would drop out of the top 4. They'd be on 66. Manchester United on 64. Chelsea would have played a game more, but they would have the points in the bag. And as Kelly's been saying, they've got 2 shots at it as well this season in terms of trying to get back into the Champions League, because like Arsenal, if they can win the Europa League, that would automatically take them into the Champions League. Their last Premier League game they lost, that was at Liverpool. 2 changes today. Andreas Christensen, the young Dane, comes into the back 4 alongside David Luiz. Antonio Rudiger is out with a knee injury, and Gonzalo Higuain starts up top. No Willian this evening. Burnley unchanged after their 2-0 win against Cardiff. Chelsea all in blue, white socks, playing from right to left on this lovely bank holiday, warm spring evening in West London. And Burnley, as Lee was saying, his first club, of course, joined them as an apprentice. I won't get you to say the year, actually, Lee, but they're in the...
I can't remember.
They're in the familiar claret and blue. Came here last season, right at the start of the season. Chelsea were champions and Burnley won 3-2. Terrible day for Chelsea that. They had 2 players sent off in Cesc Fabregas and Gary Cahill. But that is Burnley's only Premier League win away from home against a so-called Big Six team in 29 attempts. So let's see what they can do this evening. Chelsea knocking the ball around for fun inside their own half. Andreas Christensen spots a bit of space ahead of him, runs up towards the halfway line, closed down by Ashley Barnes. First touch for Hudson-Odoi, lays it back, lovely first touch stuff. Higuain plays it to the right-hand side, and Azpilicueta's cross is blocked at the near post. Chelsea get a corner. That was lovely football, that.
Yeah, it was. Hudson-Odoi coming off his wing on the inside as he comes in field, just opens up the space. Azpilicueta fills that space in. It's a decent crossing, got blocked in the end, but really good movement. Fast on this slick pitch. The sprinklers have been on it for a good half an hour before the players were out warming up.
Chelsea fans still drifting in. I'm sure some of them are still outside enjoying those last few drops of beer in the sunshine before coming in to watch the game. Hudson-Odoi comes in to offer a short option on the corner. Hazard, I don't think, is going to use him. Higuain lurking at the far post, cross comes in, Dwight McNeil, the 19-year-old, is there. Hazard beats him to the ball, drives it with his left foot, Heaton blocks it, still loose in the penalty area, back it comes, Hazard miscues and it's hacked away by Ashley Barnes, and behind for another corner. Tom Heaton was almost taken back into his own goal by the power of the shot.
Well, he nearly sucked us all in the net with the swing of that foot of Hazard. It left foot, as you said, it knocked Heaton back. I think it was Loftus-Cheek who fluffed his lines after that, but big chance for Chelsea.
Second corner then, Hazard again, low, again to the near post, Loftus-Cheek again trying to get onto it, it's cleared away from him. Burnley have everyone inside their own half, so the ball comes back to Kepa, who's almost up by the halfway line himself. Ball in bright green, the Chelsea goalkeeper this evening, and Emerson at left back across to David Luiz. Emerson involved again, plays across his own half to Andreas Christensen, again just trotting towards the halfway line. Kante to Jorginho, can't find Higuain. Dwight McNeil gets it from Ben Mee. Hudson-Odoi almost intercepts another pass and then very quickly closes Charlie Taylor down. The ball spins up in the air. Burnley under some pressure in the opening minutes here at Stamford Bridge, and there's a good out ball for them up towards Chris Wood, holds it up, lays it off. McNeil can't keep it in play, and it's a Chelsea throw, and Chelsea have started fast here, Lee.
Yeah, they have, and Barnes and Wood are going to be very, very important just to hold the ball up, as you said, as the ball comes from midfield. When they want to clear the ball, it's got to stick up top, otherwise they're not going to get out. The back four are going to be put under all sorts of pressure, and the two midfield players, Cork and Westford, are sort of looking round for someone to mark, because Chelsea are really good at not staying in the middle of the park. They're spreading themselves wide and also going into the number 10 area. Two midfield players haven't got anybody to mark at the moment.
Fabulous first touch from Hudson-Odoi, and then he comes dancing in off the right-hand touchline. Jorginho just scoops a little pass up in the air. Charlie Taylor wants to let it bounce and go behind for the goal kick. Hudson-Odoi, very enthusiastic, jumps into him. It will be a goal kick. It may well have been a free kick anyway, had the ball not gone out of play. Just going to have another look, Lee, at the first chance of the game. Hazard just got to the rebound quickly. Heaton spilled it, and you're right, Loftus-Cheek. Ball came back to him 8 yards out. Just scuffed it, basically.
But that's what Hazard does brilliantly well. It sort of ricochets off a player, but as soon as it bounces in his possession again, hardly any backlift, he just lashes at the ball, and he's got such good timing with that left foot that Heaton nearly got caught out.
Lee Dixon with us on 5 Live Sport this evening. 3 Premier League weekends to come after this one. This race for the top 4, incredibly tight. Burnley not safe at the bottom just yet. Next Premier League commentary for you, massive one on Wednesday night. Manchester United against Manchester City. Chelsea in the mood this evening. Hazard with a little trick, skips away from Hendrick, then pins a 40-yard diagonal across to Hudson-Odoi. He's going to have another run at Charlie Taylor here. Taylor's backing off, Hudson-Odoi into the penalty area. His cross is blocked, it won't spin out of play. So Azpilicueta goes chasing back, then tries to slide a pass into the box. Ben Mee has it covered and gives it a good old-fashioned hoof out of play for a Chelsea throw on the right.
Well, Taylor's going to be busy tonight because Hudson-Odoi is playing like a Man City winger. He's literally on the touchline, really wide. Hazard on this left-hand side, Hudson-Odoi on the right-hand side, really stretching the back line of Burnley right across the pitch.
Hazard on the end of a long diagonal ball, brings it under his spell, into the penalty area he goes. 2 Burnley players right in front of him. They daren't make the tackle though. He drags the ball away from them, lays it off to Emerson, who wasn't quite ready for it. Low ball to Higuain, didn't get a touch. Hudson-Odoi very nearly got onto it at the far post, cleared up towards the halfway line. Ashley Barnes is tackled by Loftus-Cheek, and Chelsea just comes swarming all over Burnley again. 5 minutes gone, 0-0. Loftus-Cheek on the dribble inside the penalty area. Back to Hazard, just outside the box. Scoop pass, brilliant. Higuain with the attempted lob. Fabulous clearance off the line by Ben Mee. An overhead kick, which prevents Chelsea taking the lead. But they just can't stop Chelsea. Hazard to Emerson, and Heaton grabs the cross and dives on it. And if I was him, I would stay lying down on that ball for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, they need a breather. Higuain making a really good run just into the inside left position. He flicks it over. Heaton looks like it was going along the line. Whether it was going to go in at the far side, we're not so sure. But Ben Mee didn't know that. He just decides to go back, as a good defender should, help his keeper out, and it's probably saved the goal.
Chris Wood crossing the Chelsea penalty area. Barnes will jump with David Luiz, and the ball has come off David Luiz and gone behind for the corner. The scoop pass from Hazard as a defender, Lee, when that's just sort of sailing over your head? What are you thinking?
You don't know he's going to do it, because you need a backlift to chip the ball, but he doesn't have one. He just flicks it, so you can't put your foot up to block it. It's gone before you know it, and you're just looking behind you, hoping somebody else has read it. But Burnley now taking an age to take this corner, and I know why, because they're all sucking deep breaths into their lungs, trying to get a breather before they have to play the game again.
Chelsea fans recognise what they're doing as well. Chelsea 0, Burnley 0. Dwight McNeil with the corner for Burnley. Left-footed, swung deep to the far post. Azpilicueta heads it away. Hendrick with the volley. What a goal from Jeff Hendrick. It's a stunner. Burnley have been under the cosh for the first 7 minutes in the game. First shot on goal from Jeff Hendrick. It's a rocket on the volley past Kepa. And amazingly, it's Chelsea 0, Burnley 1.
Well, they really need to look at their marking on the edge of the box, Chelsea, because the ball is cleared by a Chelsea defender, and it's looped to the... We've got two players on the edge of the box, Burnley, not being marked, and one of them decides, Hendrick, just to slice the ball, have a go on the volleys, just in the D, and he got his eye on the ball, and he just decides, I'm going to take a chance. He puts his knee straight through it, his foot follows, and the ball just loops with top spin. Kepa, should he get it? It's gone in the corner. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Hendrick's a really good slicing ball into the far corner.
Just swerving away from him that little bit. We're getting a close-up of the Jeff Hendrick celebration at the moment. He certainly enjoyed that, and why not? To say that goal has come against the run of play is a little bit of an understatement, but from the neutral's point of view, if you are listening to us on 5 Live Sport this evening, it's absolutely perfect in a way, because Burnley now have something to hold on to. Chelsea have started fast and started well. So let's see what this game has to bring. What a ball from David Luiz. Azpilicueta into Hudson-Odoi. Azpilicueta, left-footed shot straight at Tom Heaton, who makes a comfortable save. So immediately having conceded the goal, Chelsea in the next 10 seconds have a shot on goal of their own.
Well, I think it's going to be the pattern of the game. I think it's all going to be to our left. You remember when you were a kid and you got a little snooker table and it was like slightly lopsided and all the balls went to one end of the pitch. It's been like that. Chelsea have just been dominating possession all the way over Burnley, but they've got their own... There's no mistake like a mistake where you leave players on the edge of the box. It's just sacrilege. Somebody's just got to say, do you know what, mark the edge of the box. 2 players Burnley had without a player within 10 yards of them on the edge of the box. Can't be right.
Great start to the game here on 5 Live. Sean Dyche is out in that gravelly voice, barking instructions across the pitch. A Burnley win tonight, don't forget, and that is safety for them, with 3 games left to play. 3 tough games as well. Manchester City at home, Everton away, Arsenal at home. Burnley taking their time over the throw-in. Matt Lowton launches that down the right-hand side. Burnley wanted a free kick there for what they thought was a foul on Ashley Barnes. They didn't get it. Azpilicueta plays out from just in front of his own box. Slightly loose touch from Hudson-Odoi. Chris Wood is sniffing around. Christensen is there first. The ball is back with Kepa, and Kepa very coolly takes a touch and just side-foots a pass out to David Luiz.
Well, if I'd have said at the start of this weekend all 4 chasing that Champions League spot would lose this weekend, you thought I'd gone mad.
You would have got long odds. You could have won a lot of money. Long way to go in this game. Hudson-Odoi, you can tell he's been hugging the touchline because he's got a big splash of white paint on the back of his shorts where he's taken a tumble early in the game. Kante lays the ball back to him. Burnley sit deep. Jorginho again, very happy to give it to Hudson-Odoi into the feet of Higuain. Higuain is running away from goal. Ball is played down the right, and Azpilicueta just claps his hands together in frustration because the pass is beyond Hudson-Odoi and behind for a Burnley goal kick. So we have a chance to draw breath. 10 minutes gone in the first half, and it's Chelsea 0, Burnley 1, and we'll get another look at the goal again. Azpilicueta's head out, but you're absolutely right, Lee. 2 Burnley players, no one within 10 yards of them on the edge of the area.
And the thing is, they all sprint to try and stop the shot, but they're so far away they can't get near the ball. They only have to be 3 or 4 yards off, and they were like 10, 12 yards off.
29 games Chelsea have played at Stamford Bridge this season in all competitions. They've only lost 2 of them, one against Leicester in the Premier League, one against Manchester United in the FA Cup. Behind tonight early on, Jeff Hendrick's cracking volley. Ashley Barnes jumping for a ball here. It's broken loose inside the Chelsea half. Loftus-Cheek gets his head down, uses those long legs to sprint away from Westwood. Westwood tried to knock him down. He actually ended up going to ground. Hazard has the ball at his feet again. into the box. The angle is tight, onto his left foot, drags it back, plays the ball back. Kante! Took a deflection on the way through. Thumping finish though from the little Frenchman. Chelsea 1, Burnley 1.
Well, he's a magician. It's as simple as that. I mean, to get a player to lie down in front of you without doing an awful lot, it's just the way that he moves. Sometimes the ball, sometimes he just moves his legs. He gets into a position where he puts defenders on their backsides. He does it exactly that with Lowton. In the end, he's on the ground. He just lays it back. He just lays it back in the path of Kante, and it's a left-footed strike. It was a little deflection on the way in, but you have to say Loftus-Cheek on that move, he was very strong when he fed Hazard, and then the rest is just, it's left up to the wizard that is Eden Hazard.
2 goals in the first 12 minutes at Stamford Bridge, and here come Burnley this time. Barnes and Wood combining on the edge of the box. Chipped away by Christensen. Higuain chases. Bernley gets a header on it and knocks the ball out of play for a throw. I mean, poor old Matt Lowton there was made to look a little bit silly, but Lee, you know exactly, that was your position right back, and Hazard to deal with as a defender is a nightmare.
The thing is, what he does, Ali, is you've got to stay one side. You've got to make him go one side, whatever side you choose. Take him on, even if he wants to go on his right, let him go on his right, but do not let him go on his left. Or if you want to take him down the left, do not let him go on his right. The difficulty is when he squares you up, and he's squared Lowton up. Then you put him in a position where he's now face onto him. They can go either way. One little jink of the shoulder, and you're on your backside.
Hudson-Odoi wants some of it now. He's on the dribble up to the corner of the penalty area on the right-hand side. Azpilicueta across to Jorginho. Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. Lovely turn from Higuain. Azpilicueta's flick. Higuain! In off the bar! Chelsea have turned it round in a couple of minutes. That is an emphatic finish from the Argentine. And what's going to happen next in this game? We've only played 13 minutes, and it's Chelsea 2, Burnley 1. What a finish.
Well, what a game we've got now. The Chelsea fans are on the seats cheering. It's a brilliant finish, it really is, because the angle's quite tight. Azpilicueta just plays it inside and follows his run, and he does brilliantly well. It's a great little turn, little flick through his legs, and because of the angle, he has to go high. He has to lean back and hit the ball high over Heaton's head, and he does that exactly. Brilliant little flick from Azpilicueta, and it's in his path, but that angle is so tight. Lean back and just bang it into the roof of the net. It's a fantastic finish.
Higuain has gone with so much power there. Heaton actually genuinely looks shocked at how quickly that ball has travelled past him. I mean, he's been beaten at his near post, but that has gone like a rocket above him in off the bar.
That's quite a difficult skill as well, because of the angle he's running away from the goal, to then sort of lean back last minute and hit it underneath the ball to get the height. He would have been expecting something around chest height. The fact that it's gone way over his head, it would have surprised him.
Well, we had that incredible start to the Manchester City-Tottenham Champions League semi-final second leg last week. This one isn't far off at the moment. 3 goals in the first 15 minutes. Gonzalo Higuain with his first in 6 games. 4th overall for Chelsea, and having gone behind, they are right away back in front, and as things stand, heading 3rd in this Premier League table. Now they've got a bit of defending to do. Hudson-Odoi very cool under pressure, and Chelsea have played it out quite brilliantly from their right back position. Jorginho floats the ball across the pitch, one bounce, chested down by Emerson, into the feet of Loftus-Cheek. Emerson keeps going beyond him. Hazard just lingers on the left-hand side, and Burnley, aware of the danger, slow him down and back off. Hazard, Hendrick in front of him, just slips a little pass to Emerson, back to Hazard. Here's Loftus-Cheek. Hazard again uses Loftus-Cheek as a wall. 1-2, ball played wide left to Emerson, couple of touches from him, and Hazard just lets the ball run under his right foot and then switches play to the right hand side to Azpilicueta, the skipper. Hudson-Odoi with pace, has the beating of Taylor, cross in where you think Higuain possibly should have been. It's gone right through the penalty area, and then Hazard tries a trick that doesn't come off. The ball though does run to Loftus-Cheek, just inside the Burnley penalty area again. Emerson back to Loftus-Cheek, another little dummy from him, laid back to David Luiz. Luiz across here to Jorginho, about 20 yards inside the Burnley half. Chelsea have so many options left and right here. Loftus-Cheek goes wide left again to Emerson. who starts to bring the ball infield. He's going to take Hendrick on, chips across. I think that's going to drift behind. It does. For the goal kick to Burnley. Chelsea 2, Burnley 1, and some of the football from Chelsea this evening, Lee, irresistible.
Yeah, it is, and it's that man Hazard who's pulling all the strings. The trouble, what Burnley have got now with him, he's playing at his tempo, so when he gets the ball he walks with it, or he'll get the ball and jog with it, or if he decides to sprint with it, he sprints with it. You have to take that away from him, so you've got to change your game. At the moment he's setting the tempo. Sarri's scribbling notes down. We can see down on the touchline, scribbling notes down. I suggest he pass a few on to the Burnley players to how to stop Hazard, because at the moment Lowton's letting him play, as I said, at his own tempo. He's got to make him rush, make him hurry, or go tight through him. Say to his centre back, do you know what, I'm going tight for 10 minutes. Do something, because at the moment he's running the game.
Well, they're coming again, Chelsea now down the right. Higuain is wide right, crosses blocked, and the ball's out for a Chelsea throw. I think Maurizio Sarri might just have been scribbling, keep Eden Hazard at club.
Not so sure that's going to happen.
No, and it will be a great shame if he does leave the Premier League, because on a night like tonight, and so many afternoons and nights, he's entertained us royally. Fabulous footballer. He's on that short list for the PFA Player of the Year. Jorginho this time is looking for Higuain. Higuain wasn't quite on the same wavelength. Applauds the pass from Jorginho, which dribbles behind for the goal kick. So Chelsea 2, Burnley 1. Premier League table as it stands in terms of the race to the top 4. Chelsea moving to 69 points. Tottenham will be on 67. Arsenal on 66. Manchester United on 64. And actually, big game coming up on Sunday, because Chelsea go to Manchester United. So, particularly from United's point of view, what a week for them. We've got commentary of their game against Manchester City on Wednesday night. And then Chelsea go to Old Trafford on the Sunday. Chelsea leading Burnley 2-1. Higuain in the centre circle, keeps it for them, gives it to Hazard, and as you say, Lee, he just slows it, doesn't he, sometimes to walking pace, but he's got that devastating burst of speed from a standing start.
Yeah, it's just great wing play, slowing defenders down, speeding them up. It's the way to get players moving, a way to then slow them down, create space behind, etc. And he's the master at it. He really is.
The confidence of Hudson-Odoi as well, who's just come running from right to left to try and join in the play. Emerson into the feet of Loftus-Cheek, back to Emerson again, just outside the Burnley penalty area on the left. And here is Hudson-Odoi, who is yelling at Hazard to give him the ball. Gives it to Hazard and gets it back. Hazard this time gives it to Emerson. Back to Hazard again. Short pass to Hudson-Odoi. And you can feel Chelsea just trying to draw the Burnley defenders out and then hit them with the sucker punch. Loftus-Cheek laid off to Hazard. Hendrick looks wary. Hazard takes him on the outside, fires a cross in that is headed away. Jorginho jumps with Ashley Barnes, beats Barnes in the air. Back to Loftus-Cheek, goes for the curler, it's just over the bar. And behind for another Burnley goal kick. And Burnley really are under the cosh here.
Well, you could hear the fans as soon as Loftus-Cheek got the ball with the anticipation. He just opened himself up, his body up, to try and bend it into that far corner, Heaton's top corner, and you could tell what he was going to do. Everybody knew what he was going to do, and he was only inches wide.
So Tom Heaton will take his time. Been beaten twice this evening, but really not much he could have done about either. In fact, Kante's strike as well, Lee, on the wrong foot was really well hit.
It's almost behind him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a little bit behind him. He sort of dug it out, but he's got his laces on it, and it's flew in with power.
Heaton then puts his right foot through the ball, clears it long. Great leap from Andreas Christensen. You quite like him, don't you, Lee? Christensen as a defender.
I think he's going to be a good player. He just needs a little bit of he needs games, he needs to play, he needs to learn his position, he needs to learn his trade. I think he's going to be a really top class centre back.
Pulls back with Heaton, back pass from Ben Mee, no messing again from Heaton, just smashes it downfield. Wood jumps with Christensen, wins the header, but only runs on into the Chelsea penalty area, where Kepa is able to collect. So Burnley took the early lead through the Jeff Hendrick volley, and Chelsea, rat-a-tat-tat, have replied with 2 quick goals, and midway through this first half they lead Burnley by 2 goals to 1. Chelsea fans in good form, most people in shirt sleeves this evening, as David Luiz floats one long, looking for the run of Hudson-Odoi, headed away only as far as Kante. Kante lays off a short pass to Hudson-Odoi. Higuain makes a run towards him. So again, no centre forward in the middle at the moment for Chelsea. Loftus-Cheek is lurking on the edge of the box. Hudson-Odoi caught offside, and that'll be a free kick for Burnley.
Well, it's like a training game at the moment for Chelsea. Burnley are really struggling to get a foot near the ball, let alone put a tackle in. And the trouble is, what Chelsea want now, all their players, is they want the ball. That's always a bad thing when all 11 want the ball. Yeah. Sometimes if you're under the cosh a little bit and you go 1-0 down at home, a few players start to hide, but Chelsea have got themselves back into this game with 2 brilliant goals, and now every single player wants to play.
It's Lee Dixon with us at Stamford Bridge, 4 times a title winner with Arsenal. It could of course be Arsenal against Chelsea in the Europa League final.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
It would, Lee. It would.
I might go to that one. Where is it? Azerbaijan.
Yes, you're right. Baku. Higuain laying off to Hazard, and a very important sliding challenge in the middle of the park by Westwood on Hazard, because had he been able to collect that, he was away again. David Luiz with a header, foul this time on Ashley Barnes. And actually, I mentioned your 4 title wins with Arsenal, but a European trophy win as well. 94, I'm going to say. Yeah,
that'll do.
Cup Winners' Cup. I remember watching it.
Against Parma.
Zola.
We could have lost that game 10-0 and we won 1-0. We got absolutely battered. But doesn't matter, does it?
Doesn't matter. Won the trophy, got the medal. Burnley wanted to go quickly. Kevin Friend not happy with something, so blows his whistle and brings it back. Chelsea 2, Burnley 1. Dwight McNeil holds his right arm in the air, but it's Westwood who's going to clip it with his right foot. Ben Mee's all alone, heads it across goal, falls to Ashley Barnes, it's 2-2. Volleys in from close range, and again Chelsea's defence seemed all over the place, so they've been fabulous going forward and not very good at the back. Burnley have taken advantage, and we're level. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2.
Well, I'll go a little bit further than not very good. This is awful. Far post, it's not, you might lose the first header. Goes to me, far post. It's what happens next. Just look at the players, the Chelsea players, they're not picking up. 2 players, there's one on the edge of the box, I think it's Wood, and then in the end it's Barnes who scores, but it's Wood to Barnes inside the 6-yard box. 2 free headers, 1 free header at the far post. All in all, 3 free headers, and Chelsea are nowhere to be seen. The goalkeeper's looking round for his defence, and there's a little bit of a conflab going on with the referee. I think it's Azpilicueta who's asking a question, something to do with Luiz.
Yeah, David Luiz was complaining after the goal was scored, something to do with the free kick. I'm not entirely sure what. That conversation has obviously continued. Azpilicueta has stepped in to try and calm the situation down. Bottom line is though, and you said this right at the start of the programme tonight, the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester United, we talk about this race for the top 4. In certain areas of the team, they're just not very good, are they?
Well, I mean, the 2 goals they've conceded, almost schoolboy errors. The first one from a corner set up, 2 players on the edge of the box not being marked. On that occasion, free header at the far post, nodded it into the 6-yard box, which is very close to the goal. Free header, flick on, goal scorer Barnes, 2 yards out, nobody near him, tapping. That can't be good enough.
Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Fabulous going forward. I was trying to think of a word, an adjective for something beginning with F at the back, and I couldn't think of it. That's why I said not very good. What's Kelly saying? Frantic. Frail. Should have gone with frail. If we could just re-record that at half-time, that would make a nice little clip for the second Burnley goal.
Failure. We could use failure as well.
At the back.
Failure to bring players' notes to the game. We could use that as well.
See, I would have had that written down, Lee. 20 minutes to go in the foot. David Luiz, what are you doing there? That's an embarrassing dive. Play on, says the referee. That's one of the most ridiculous bits of acting I've ever seen. Hazard's on the ball in the penalty area, lays it back to Jorginho, who thinks I might as well have a go because everyone is scoring tonight. The shot is blocked by Cork. Back with Azpilicueta. Hudson-Odoi tries to find him again. Azpilicueta goes down, and it's a corner given because McNeil got a touch on the ball.
Yeah, he just got a touch, and they're complaining about it, but I think they're complaining about Luiz's dive. I mean, I think it's either stupid or it's actually genius, because there was nobody near him and he just decided to throw himself on the ground. He wasn't even near the ball at the time, I don't think. Everybody stopped and then Chelsea just carried on playing. It was almost like a fake dive. Everybody watch me and then we'll just carry on.
Just absolutely ridiculous from David. It was like he was diving into a swimming pool. It was like it's like a kid having a strop. I just lost for words. 2-2, corner for Chelsea, which Hazard will take with his right foot, swinging away, headed away by Ashley Barnes. Jorginho hits one. Ashley Barnes is in the way again. That was probably heading for the top corner.
Well, Heaton was a little bit interested in that. I just watched the goalkeeper. He started to scramble over the line, but no need, because Barnes stuck his head right in front of the ball. That must have hurt a bit, because that was flying.
We have a little feature on Sunday night 6:06, which is called the simulation game. And basically the idea of the feature, Lee, is to catch out the divers and name and shame them. I've got a feeling David Luiz might feature on Sunday, because I think it's going to be hard to beat that one.
That wins it. Whatever you've got else in the bank, that's the winner.
Tarkowski, long ball forward with his right foot. Chris Wood getting stuck in with David Luiz. Good physical challenge between centre forward and centre back. Kepa puts Azpilicueta under a little bit of pressure as Dwight McNeil closes in. Azpilicueta plays the ball up the right-hand side to Kante. Taken on in midfield by Jorginho, really nicely done, collected it, turned away from Westwood. Hudson-Odoi now comes bursting through the middle, Higuain ahead of him, and guess who on his left? Eden Hazard, right-footed shot just over the bar. It remains 2-2.
Well, Kante's 3 passes in that move was absolutely brilliant. We have a go at him for the manager for playing in the wrong position. He played in that right side of midfield then and played 3 absolutely gorgeous passes, and everybody was waiting for the net to bulge as Hazard got the ball, because he was on his right foot, he was opening himself up, but he just leaned back a little bit and it just flew over the bar.
Just over 15 minutes to play then. Harum scarum first half. Let's have a look about what David Luiz might be complaining about with the free kick before Burnley scored. Still not entirely sure. Maybe we'll get a little bit more on that at half-time. 2-2. Loftus-Cheek inside his own half. Just lobs a little ball back to David Luiz, who, as always, in the short-sleeve shirt, has the 2 Chelsea sweatbands on either wrist. Familiar, bouncy, running style. Plays it across to Christensen. Christensen back to Luiz. Still inside the Chelsea half. Sweeps the ball out to the left. Maurizio Sarri close to that touchline, chewing furiously, well outside the technical area. He's decided to go for a little wander down the left wing here, Sarri, and then he suddenly remembered where he is. Hazard's ball in towards Kante, almost brought that down for a shot on goal inside the penalty area. Referee is in Ashley Westwood's way. Jack Cork's lost it. Higuain gets it for Chelsea. Left-footed strike goes fizzing past Tom Heaton's right-hand post. And we now seem to have a competition on tonight for who can hit the most powerful shot.
Hardest shot. You don't want to give the ball away there. Jack Cork just gets caught in possession, and straight away Higuain just turns. He's got one thing in his mind: can I put my laces through this one? And he does. It's a great strike. It's just inches wide, but again, you're right, the power was everything.
Absolutely whistling past Tom Heaton's goal. Chelsea fans again complaining about what they think is time wasting from Burnley over the restart. Wood was almost one-on-one with David Luiz from one simple ball over the top of Chelsea's back 4 there. Chelsea have the ball back and will start to build again with Christensen.
I'm pretty sure Sean Dyche, before this game started, said to Wood and Barnes, you're playing against Christensen and Luiz, give them a rough night, really get stuck into them, push them about, make sure they know you're there, because they're that type of centre forward, and these 2 centre-backs you just feel can be just pushed around and bullied a little bit, and you think Luiz will probably lose his rag, because we've seen it before.
Both of them in double figures for goals this season. Ashley Barnes with his 12th tonight. Chris Woods has 13, 9 in his last 15 games in the Premier League. So I did have some of my notes, Lee, from earlier. There's a couple which I managed to cobble together. And Kante's on the ball for Chelsea inside his own half. It's a half we don't want to finish at the moment. Still got 15 minutes left of it, because it's been fantastic to watch. Ball's out for a Chelsea throw on the left inside the Burnley half. Quickly taken by Emerson to Loftus-Cheek. He's got the nod in midfield this evening. Ross Barkley and Kovacic both on the bench. Jorginho with a little ambitious attempted through ball to Loftus-Cheek. He's not going to get that one, so it'll run behind for the goal kick to Burnley.
You have to say fair play to Burnley, because taking the lead, you wouldn't expect them to take the lead. It was against the run of play, but they did. And then you sit back, and then all of a sudden you're hit by two brilliant goals from Chelsea, and you think that might be it from Burnley's point of view. The fact that they just take the foot off the pedal a little bit, Chelsea, and now all of a sudden Burnley have got another chance, and now they're backing it at 2-2. And
yeah, Tom Heaton's got to be careful here. He's been booked for time wasting. The reason being, it went out for a goal kick to Burnley. They basically threw the ball further away than it needed to be. Tom Heaton went to collect it. He put it down on one side of his 6-yard box and then picked it up and went strolling across to the other side. And the reason I say Heaton's got to be careful, he's very unhappy at the booking, and he went to remonstrate with Kevin Friend about it. But I'd quite like to see that early in the game, Lee. If the referee feels people are wasting time, if you know you're going to get booked for it, and hopefully if they do it against someone else to get booked for it, it should just cut it out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good refereeing. The deterrent has to be there. I was a past master at time wasting mine. I was one of the kings of that.
Any particular tricks?
Oh, throw-ins, yeah. Can't pick the ball up. Go to pick the ball up off the ball boy, it slips out my hand.
Oh dear.
Wipe it down with a towel, drop it again.
Yeah.
It's really, I used to annoy myself.
13 minutes left in the first half. Brilliant first half. There's Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Kante and Westwood racing for a loose ball inside the Burnley half. Gone out for a throw into Chelsea. I think Westwood felt he might have been fouled there and wanted the free kick. Burnley are getting very irate about a few decisions in the last few minutes in this game.
Yeah, the captain's going over to have a word, being talked to by Kevin Friend, just to say calm him down, calm Westwood down, because he ran over to the referee's assistant there. You can't do that.
Yeah.
He showed dissent, but he's got away with one, a little warning.
They might be a little bit miffed that Tom Heaton's on a yellow card and David Luiz didn't get booked for diving.
I think Kevin Friend was too busy laughing.
Yeah. Christensen giving the ball away. Burnley have it on the halfway line, lot to do, and Christensen tries to make amends and goes clattering into Jack Cork, concedes the free kick, doesn't get the booking. 12 minutes left in the first half. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Point for Chelsea would still take them into the top 4 tonight, just 1 point above Arsenal, but again they will have played a game more than all their top 4 rivals. Now Chelsea fans are complaining again that Burnley are taking their time. It's over an attacking free kick. McNeil has floated it into the edge of the area. Mee heads it down, volleyed in the air by Hendrick, headed away by Jorginho. Tarkowski goes running back to try and collect it for Burnley. Kante nicks it off him, and Chelsea are able to break quickly with Hazard. Higuain leaves that pass to Hudson-Odoi, who collects it on the right hand side. Eyes light up as he gets to run at Charlie Taylor. Crossing, not the best. Tom Heaton catches it at the near post.
Yeah, he just needed a run to the near post a little bit more. Higuain goes, but it's a little bit close to the goalkeeper. Hudson-Odoi, as soon as he gets the ball to feet, first thought, can I get in the box? Can I drive into the box? Then the full-back can't put a tackle in. He does that really good, opens himself up, gets the cross in. Just, Heaton was in the right place.
Heaton clears with his right foot. Flick on by Wood, looking for Barnes. Might run to McNeil. McNeil immediately fronted up by N'Golo Kante, who as always is just there to plug the danger. That was classic Kante just before as well, taking the ball off Tarkowski. He was actually fouled by Tarkowski and kept going. McNeil in space on the left, cross into the near post. Christensen in the right place this time, clears it for Chelsea, and Chelsea have a chance to break, and Loftus-Cheek is quick and comes sprinting away with the ball and gives it to Hazard again, and Hazard just comes sauntering forward, not even looking at the ball, looking at options ahead of him. Tied to his right boot at the moment, curls a pass out to Hudson-Odoi. Azpilicueta starts to make a run. Hudson-Odoi doesn't use him, knocks the ball straight into the face of Charlie Taylor, who, a bit like a punch-drunk boxer there, wobbled on his feet for a second and then recovered himself and has got to get back into position because Kante's making a run. Lays it off to Higuain. What a tackle by Tarkowski as Higuain was just about to pull the trigger.
All aspects there, Ali, of brilliant football. Great ball from Luiz, great touch from Kante, and then the snapshot, but as you said, brilliant defending.
Another shot from Kante. I'm sure you probably heard the thud of ball on body there as Jack Court went into block. Chelsea still attacking down the right. Hudson-Odoi back to Azpilicueta, right-footed ball into the far post. Lowton is underneath it, heads it high in the air, dropping just outside the area. Chance for Burnley to clear. Westwood's not really got an option. Now he finds one in Hendrick. Back to Westwood. Higuain was lurking, and Heaton slices the ball under pressure with his left foot. Gives it to Hudson-Odoi. Difficult to control. Oh dear.
That didn't look good.
As Hudson-Odoi went to control it, he fell awkwardly. He's gone down.
He's back up pretty quick. I thought he went down so quick there.
Ooh.
I think he caught the ball right on the end of his toe that sort of just jarred his ankle a little bit. Got his eye on the ball. He's trying to bring it down, and as he pushes away, he just feels the pain in his right foot. But I think it was the ball hitting the top of his toe. Can sometimes just jar your ankle a little bit, and he's stretching it off now. But he went down so quickly. I thought it didn't look good at all. But he'll be fine, I think.
Chelsea fans, I'm sure, really enjoying another one of his performances this evening. He is hobbling though. He's hobbling badly off the ball at the moment. So I don't know how much more we're going to see of Hudson-Odoi this evening. He's trying to recover his poise. Chelsea sensibly building down the left-hand side with this fella Hazard. Finds Emerson. Emerson's low cross in. Tarkowski at full stretch to clear. Comes back to Emerson. Loftus-Cheek, tackled strongly by Ashley Barnes, comes hurtling in for Burnley. And Burnley are complaining again. Ashley Barnes this time is in Kevin Friend's ear. I'm not sure what about. Hazard, short ball to Emerson. Emerson gives it back to the main man.
He's struggling.
Oh yeah, Hudson-Odoi. No, he's sitting down. I think that's it for him tonight, which is a great shame. Not just for Chelsea, but for everyone watching tonight, Lee, because he is a really bright young star, isn't he, Hudson-Odoi? That was so innocuous what happened to him there.
Yeah, he had his eye on the ball. The ball was a really high one. It was coming down from the floodlights, and it hit the end of his toe. And sometimes when your ankle's in that position off the ground, it can be a little bit loose, and the ball he tried to get it on the instep to bring it down. It caught the end of his toe, can just sometimes jar your ankle, and you can normally run those off, but he got straight away, he tried to hobble around, but then just sat down as he can't carry on. And normally, if you're going down like that, he was shaking his head. It doesn't look particularly good for the young man.
So a little stoppage in play. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. If you are just tuning in, you've missed some first half. Burnley took the lead with a crashing Jeff Hendrick volley, although Chelsea's defending for both of Burnley's goals tonight has not been good. Chelsea very quickly responded. Goals from Kante and Higuain, both sweetly struck. Higuain in particular from the angle with a rising shot that went crashing in off the crossbar, which aesthetically, actually, I always think makes a goal look even better, doesn't it? Just a little glance off the bar and then into the net. But again, the Chelsea defending, Lee, for the Barnes goal for Burnley. I mean, Sarri, you'd imagine, will be tearing strips off Chelsea at half-time for that.
There'll definitely be an inquest. There'll be a video shown at half-time. I'm sure somebody's got an iPad down there and say, who are you marking? Why do you have three free headers in one move? Can't be right.
6 minutes left in the first half. Hudson-Odoi is off the pitch. He's just trying to get himself moving again. You'd imagine it would be Pedro possibly who'd come on for Chelsea to have the sort of like for like.
Yeah, he's not going to continue. There's no way. The physios are helping him round now. He's got his arm round one of their necks, and there's no way he's coming back on.
Right, Chelsea down to 10 at the moment then, so can Burnley take advantage? Long way out, Chris Wood, and that is pretty woeful. Right-footed shot, goes dribbling well wide and behind for the Chelsea goal kick. 5 minutes left in the first half on 5 Live Sport. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Sarri's giving the hurry up to, I presume it's Pedro, I've still not seen him. Chelsea playing out from the back. Ball takes a touch off Azpilicueta's pass, and it's out for a throw to Chelsea on the right hand side. Yep, here's Pedro, Chelsea's number 11. 11 goals to his name this season, and scored a couple on Thursday night last week, of course, in the 4-3 win against Slavia Prague. Warmly applauded onto the field. Great shame to lose Callum Hudson-Odoi this evening, though, and we hope that's not going to keep him out for too long. Back underway at Stamford Bridge. Here's David Luiz, ball at his feet inside his own half, just pointing, telling people where to go. Gives it to Loftus-Cheek, who comes jogging towards him. He just softly plays it back to him. Luiz throws a left arm up in the air because he's not happy with the runs ahead of him. Pedro's onto the field so quickly, he hadn't actually done his bootlaces up there, so he wasn't an option for the time being. Now he's up and playing, and he's there on the right, and Kante might look to find him here. Chip ball forward, Ben Mee read it, chests it down, plays it out from the back, up to Chris Wood. Chris Wood lays it off to Matt Lowton, and Lowton with a right-footed, lofted ball long, straight out of play. And you just heard a bit of applause building around us, and that, Lee, is for Hudson-Odoi.
Well, he's got two physios there, and he's got an arm round both of them, but he keeps waving at the crowd and lifting his arm off and actually walking on his bad leg, so can't be that bad. But he is just looking a bit of pain, to be fair to him.
Just over 3 minutes to play. Are Chelsea going to get themselves in front before half-time? Emerson, Hazard jumps over the pass. Higuain almost got there. Westwood and Cork have done an important job for Burnley, though, getting back and snuffing those type of situations out.
Yeah, absolutely. Those two midfield players, I said, they didn't have an awful lot of people to mark because players run away from them. But one of their jobs is just to squeeze back and press the number 10 players behind them into the centre-back, so you almost squash the space behind you so the centre-backs can come in and mark behind you. That's a big part of the job.
Tom Heaton with the free kick, lofted towards the edge of the box. Barnes nods it back the way. Loftus-Cheek is there first for Chelsea, to Emerson. Hazard, bit of space in front of him on the left-hand side, and Sean Dyche is right there watching over, just telling his defenders where to go and what to watch out for. They've broken up the Chelsea attack for the time being, then they've given the ball away. Higuain gets it from Loftus-Cheek, floats the ball into the area. Pedro, it just hit him. It hit his right knee. He was trying to bring that down and turn to get a shot away, and he just couldn't quite execute the skill in time.
I don't think he was expecting it. I think he thought Taylor was going to get a contact on it, but Taylor was stretching and he kind of missed it. When it goes through his legs or past his knee, and Pedro just couldn't quite bring it down. But if he had done, he was 8 yards out from goal.
Great ball from David Luiz to find Kante. Kante runs from right to left, lays it off to Higuain. They might let him shoot here, which would be risky. Higuain dummies the shot twice, lays it off to Pedro. Pedro will shoot, and Tom Heaton, that's a comfortable save, diving away to his right hand side, grabs the bouncing ball, and it remains Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. And you must remind me to do commentaries without notes more often, Lee, because they're a lot more fun.
You're quite good without notes, aren't you? I've noticed you're not very good with them, so without them is quite refreshing.
Long ball forward, headed down by Ashley Barnes. And will Emerson keep this in? No, he won't. He'll let it run over the byline. Just over a minute to play. Goal kick for Chelsea. Kepa grabs the ball with both hands. By the way, should say as well, a point for Burnley tonight, so if they do get the draw, Kepa plays out to Kante, back to Kepa. Just keep an eye on this because Burnley are pressing. Oh, Chelsea have done well there. Azpilicueta volleys a little past to Kante. They're straight up to the halfway line. Pedro takes it on the run, ghosting through that Burnley midfield, gives it to Hazard. Hazard immediately up to the edge of the Burnley box, into the penalty area now, onto that left foot, down to the byline he goes, tried to drag it back, Lowton stuck with him this time, and the right back wins one because he gets the free kick. He was dragged back by Hazard.
Yeah, he did well in the first instance. They didn't, because Burnley backed off Hazard and let him run into the box, and I talked about it before. You've got to try and keep him outside the box, but once he goes in the box, he does brilliantly well to actually put his foot in Lowton and stop him in the last gasp before he put his cross in.
If Burnley get the point, they'll get to 40 points, and their goal difference is significantly better than Cardiff's. Cardiff would have to win all 3 games to get to 40 points, so actually a draw tonight for Burnley I think would be as good as. A win definitely does it, but it would be very, very unlikely if they get a draw tonight that Cardiff could send them down. So lot to play for Burnley as well, and they've done really well here at Stamford Bridge this evening. They've got a throw on the left. How many minutes of added time have we got there? I didn't actually see. No one's quite sure up here. I'm going to guess a couple. 2-2.
3, I think it is.
3, okay. So that's another one I got wrong.
There's certain things that are definitely going to happen. There's certainty. One of them is that Hazard isn't going to be here next season. The other one is that the Player of the Year is going to be won by Van Dijk.
Oh, really? You think that's a certainty, do you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean,
I would
Sterling.
go for Van Dijk,
Yeah,
but
I think so. I can't remember what. See, that's what happens when you get over 50. You forget stuff. I had 3 things and I can remember 2 of them.
the other certainty, you've forgotten a certainty. That's probably the other certainty, that you were going to forget the third certainty.
Exactly.
If it comes back to you, Lee.
Don't worry, I'll get back to you.
Okay. We're in added time. 2 minutes remaining of it. That's not a great challenge on Loftus-Cheek, and that certainly is a free kick to Chelsea. Hendrick had to go for the ball. Free kick Chelsea. I'd be far more interested in your reason than mine, Lee. My reason for Van Dijk as the player of the year would be, I think he has significantly as good as Sterling's been, he has improved Liverpool more than Sterling's improved City.
I agree, yeah. Sterling's been fantastic.
Yeah,
I think that's a tough one. At Man City, I think Bernard Silva's been absolutely outstanding this season. And you might say, obviously, goals have an impact on a game, so Sterling's goals have been brilliant for Man City, but he's had a sensational season.
Well, he's on the list as well. Aguero's on the list, Hazard is on the list, Mane's on the list, and I think Son Heung-min is probably pretty unlucky not to be on the list.
Absolutely.
Closing stages of the first half, Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Loftus-Cheek wins the ball back for Chelsea inside the Burnley half. Could be the last attack of the half for Chelsea, this. Hazard again running at this Burnley defence, pokes a little ball to Loftus-Cheek, drags it back to his left foot, wide to Emerson, just inside the area. Chelsea get a late corner. What were you unhappy with there?
He's got to cross that first time. It's laid into his pass perfectly well. There's a space to knock it in. As soon as Emerson takes a touch, the fullback closes him down and blocks the cross. Goes for a corner. They might score and he might say, there you go. But if the space is there and you've got time to put it in the box.
Hazard will take this corner from the left for Chelsea into the near post, flicked up in the air by Azpilicueta. Loftus-Cheek gets to the loose ball, back to Hazard on the left hand side, and the 3 minutes of added time are now up. So Chelsea need to get a shot away here. Pedro's going to float one towards the far post, nodded down to the edge of the area, and Chelsea don't have time to fashion another opportunity. What a first half that was. Level at the break, Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Hendrick giving Burnley the lead, Chelsea responding immediately, having been on top right since the start of the game. Kante and Higuain with their 2 goals to get them 2-1 in front, and then Chelsea very slack at the back. Ashley Barnes profited, and that's why, Kelly, at half-time with Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Yeah, interesting this, Kelly, because they've already had to make a change in the first half, and I'm presuming this must be an enforced change. And N'Golo Kante has not retaken the field in the second half, so Kovacic comes on to replace him, who obviously is an adequate and very capable replacement. He's not going to be as good at Kante as certain parts of the role, but that has to be injury related, and obviously it only leaves Sarri with 1 substitution left in the game. That's a blow.
Do you know what, Ali? I had a look at him. He played a ball in field with about 3 or 4 minutes to go, and then he kind of was messing about with his back, so I don't know whether he's twisted something in his back. It didn't look like he was fully comfortable running down that right wing just before half time.
So Kovacic on for Kante. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. I may have forgotten my notes this evening. One decision I definitely did get right was to eschew the incredible range of puddings in the Chelsea press room this evening, because I knew our producer Rob Nothman would arrive with his usual delicious biscuits. This evening, a sort of chocolatey covered raisin and hazelnut.
Absolutely top drawer.
On the box it said luxuriously tempting, and I have to say I was tempted, and they were luxurious.
He's good for something.
Yeah. 2-2. Kepa in goal for Chelsea. Back 4 remains the same. Azpilicueta, Christensen in for the injured Rudiger this evening, David Luiz alongside him, and Emerson at left back. Kovacic has replaced Kante, Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek, and Hudson-Odoi off injured in the first half, so it's Pedro one side, Hazard the other, and Higuain through the middle. Tom Heaton is on a yellow card in the game, booked for time wasting in the first half. He's the Burnley keeper. Lowton, Tarkowski, Mee and Charlie Taylor at left back. Hendrick, Westwood, Cork and Dwight McNeil, and then Barnes and Wood, who've been doing exactly what we expected them to do in the game this evening, and giving Chelsea centre-backs a torrid old time. Pedro's trying to play a 1-2 with Azpilicueta. Charlie Taylor just beats him to the ball. Azpilicueta just seemed to give him a little tug there. Taylor went down on one knee, picked himself up. Azpilicueta wants a corner, but it's actually been given as a goal kick. It was Taylor's clearance into Azpilicueta's shins.
Yeah, how hard can you shout at a linesman? That's what Azpilicueta has tried to do to convince him to give the goal kick, but it wasn't. But I think certainly Sean Dyche at half-time will have said, carry on doing what you're doing, soaking up the pressure. The difference is, from 0-0 when the game started, they've scored 2 goals. That's a huge plus for Chelsea, for Burnley. The fact that they know they can really hurt Chelsea at set pieces, and they did that in the first half.
Here they come again with Chris Wood in the claret and blue. Burnley in the second half went from right to left towards the shed end. Chelsea all in blue shirts, blue socks, blue shorts, white socks. Hazard at full speed down the left-hand side, wide to Emerson. Emerson's crosses deep, no one there at the far post, right through the Burnley penalty area it goes, and then Kovacic challenges for the ball shoulder to shoulder with Dwight McNeil, and McNeil did well. They didn't touch the ball. Out it goes for the Burnley throw. The other thing that Kelly pointed out to me at half-time, David Luiz is 32 today. He's celebrating his birthday today. Again, as Kelly pointed out, had I brought my notes, obviously I would have known that.
Well, you could have asked me, because I knew that.
Did you know that?
I didn't know you wanted to know it, so I didn't tell you.
Have you got your third certainty, by the way? Can you remember that?
I've sent a text to all my mates it's just for suggestions.
It's Lee Dixon with us at Stamford Bridge this evening. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Ashley Barnes trying to keep a ball in play left-hand side. Can't do that. Throwing for Chelsea on the right. And Azpilicueta throws it back to Kepa. Kepa strokes the ball out of his penalty area with his right foot to Emerson. Emerson infield to Christensen. Wood and Barnes just stand off the Chelsea centre-backs at the moment. Just inside the Chelsea half, Luiz goes for an ambitious ball to Pedro. It's cut out, and then Barnes slightly miscues a pass. Still makes it to Wood, though. Wood brings it down on his chest. Lays it off here to Loughton. Loughton's got a bit too much on that. He's gone long, and it's out of play for the Chelsea goal kick.
Yeah, it's interesting. Christensen decided to follow the run all the way across to the other side of the pitch, left a big gap where he'd left the centre-back area. It was filled in by, I think it was Jorginho in the end.
Great back heel there from Kovacic to get Chelsea moving again. Jorginho swings a pass out to the left. Hazard kills it stone dead with the first touch, and off he goes. Zips infield, 30 yards from the Burnley goal, lays it off, continues a run down the left. Emerson up to the edge of the box, gives it to Loftus-Cheek. Back to Hazard, who's popped up on the left-hand side. Hendrick just stands off. Hazard not worried about him, coasts into the area. Back to Emerson, cross comes in, no one there again for Chelsea. Slightly miscued header from Charlie Taylor. Hendrick with a second header. Ashley Westwood with a volley clearance. And Andreas Christensen, a lonely man inside the Chelsea half, all on his own.
I just wonder why, when you know the ball's going to come in the box as you're a winger, Pedro on this occasion, why you don't go in the box? Because you're standing outside the box, you're not going to get the ball. The danger area, the ball's coming in the 6-yard box, just get in there.
Hendrick's lost it. Hazard's got it for Chelsea. What will he do here? He'll stroke a pass to Pedro just inside the Burnley box. Low ball, Higuain first time, and Heaton gets down and makes the save. He didn't quite catch that, Higuain, and it was pretty much straight at the keeper.
Yeah, really good run from Higuain. He makes one run down the inside left, doesn't get it, but when it comes out to Pedro, he makes sure he's across the front of Tarkowski. There he goes in front, and just as he gets to the ball, it's a little bit behind him, he kind of drags it towards goal, but Heaton's not going to get beat like that.
5 minutes gone in the second half. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Charlie Taylor for Burnley gives it to McNeil. He was immediately under pressure from Azpilicueta. Ben Mees got caught out on the halfway line. He'll want to foul someone here. He tried to rugby tackle Higuain and he didn't manage it. He just fell off him, but he has actually slowed the momentum of the Chelsea counter down. Higuain is then tackled by McNeil. Chelsea are giving the ball away. Barnes slides Chris Wood in onside. He's got the ball caught under his feet, then tries to get the pass back to McNeil to get the shot away. Just a bit clumsy from Chris Wood. He was through on goal.
Oh, he was through on goal. He tried to get it on his right foot. He should have just carried on running down the left-hand channel and hit it with his left foot. But he's too busy trying to scoop it onto his right to get the shot away, and it got stuck underneath his feet.
Oh, Hazard just drifts past Hendrick. Now runs at Loughton. Nutmeg on Cork. Stopped in his tracks, edge of the box. Shot comes in from Kovacic and swings high over the crossbar and behind for the goal kick. Hazard is just unstoppable tonight.
It's like he's got an invisible cloak on him. As soon as he gets the ball, the Burnley players are trying to work out where he is, but big chance at the other end. And Wood if he can just get it out of his feet, but he can't, and it was that need to get it onto his right foot which is the problem.
Had that been Eden Hazard, and I'm not comparing Chris Wood to Eden Hazard, but you're right, he would have just put it on his left and gone wallop, wouldn't he?
You just did.
Bit unfair on Chris Wood, that one. David Luiz back to Kepa. Kepa just outside his 6-yard box, gives it to Emerson. Emerson under no pressure at all, brings the ball out for Chelsea. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Point takes Chelsea into the top 4. Point ahead of Arsenal, but they'll be desperate for all 3. Manchester United away on Sunday. Kicks off at 4:30. I'm presuming that will be a 5 Live commentary Sunday afternoon. They've then got Watford at home and Leicester away. Chelsea have in their last couple of games of the season. Hazard switches it from left foot to right foot. Kovacic brings the ball forward at pace into the feet of Pedro, looking for Kovacic again. Taylor's back pass almost too short for Heaton. Heaton gets there first though, clears with his right foot, and Christensen goes scurrying back into his own half and picks it up for Chelsea. Comes jogging out, says he hasn't got an option to his right, goes to his left and finds birthday boy David Luiz. Jorginho, first touch on the move, keeps Chelsea ticking over. Azpilicueta into Kovacic, now floated forward by Jorginho. Tarkowski with an awkward challenge there, sort of slipped underneath the ball, almost took Higuain out. Loughton's able to clear with his right foot, and Luiz has to come running across to chest it down for Chelsea. Emerson will come all the way back to his goalkeeper. Kepa to Christensen. Christensen looks to his right, doesn't fancy that, comes back to Kepa again. Short pass to David Luiz. And Luiz comes bouncing forward. Loftus-Cheek can't control the pass that was powered at him. Tackled here by Westwood. Westwood quickly on to Jack Cork. Cork forward to Barnes. Barnes looking for the first time ball in field to Wood. Intercepted by David Luiz. Azpilicueta out from right back up to Pedro. And
Just got a little press on
Kepa again, yeah.
Got a little press on Burnley every now and again. They don't go every time. Now they're dropping off. But there's obviously a trigger on there somewhere. One of the players that goes, then everybody follows. At the moment they're just dropping back towards the halfway line, trying to fill those little lanes, the passing lanes that Chelsea tried to get Hazard into, because basically their whole gameplay revolves around getting the ball to him.
And Azpilicueta finds Kovacic, so let's see where Hazard is. At the moment he is wide on the left hand side. Higuain can't control a pass. Taylor had no option though. The ball was too slow to let it go behind for the goal kick, so had to spin and knock it out for the Chelsea throw. Almost 10 minutes gone in the second half, and Tarkowski's down and has a problem here for Burnley. And Sean Dyche is in deep discussions with his backroom team, possibly deciding what they're going to have to do here.
Yeah, he's just having a chat with me, saying it's something to do with his groin, I think.
Eden Hazard just stands over him as well, while Higuain continues a conversation here with Kevin Friend. So just a slight pause in what's been a fairly breathless evening so far. Gives me a chance to tell you what's coming up this week on 5 Live. Tomorrow night I'm actually going to pay my first visit to the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Tottenham Brighton. There'll be reports on that and on Watford Southampton as well. In the Tuesday night club, Mark Chapman, Ian Wright, Chris Sutton, and I saw on an email today it said Sandy Townsend, but I'm presuming that's going to be Andy Townsend.
Oh, I hope it's Sandy Townsend.
Chris Sutton, by the way, who I know on Sunday will be absolutely, well, I say absolutely insufferable, more insufferable than normal, because Norwich have pretty much now guaranteed promotion to the Premier League despite drawing today. Leeds were beaten 2-0 at Brentford, and given my East Anglian leanings in terms of football teams and Chris's penchant for Norwich,
double whammy.
I've got a feeling I might hear about that. Kovacic back to Jorginho. Tarkowski's still on, he's okay, he's back in position in the middle of the Burnley defence, but he's got to be 100% to deal with the likes of Hazard and Higuain. Hazard attracting defenders like moths to a light there. Azpilicueta, low cross into the near post, Mees there to block it, and out it goes for the throw. We're just in a slightly cagey little period in the game, Liam. It's just slowed a little.
Yeah, well, Burnley are defending quite deep. When they don't have that little press on up the pitch, they're just getting everybody back, which you can't blame them. They've got something to protect. They're trying to, as I said, fill those gaps to stop Chelsea playing in between the lines, and at the moment it's working quite well.
Kovacic with a throw to Pedro, back to Kovacic. Kovacic is on for Kante in the second half. Pedro on for Hudson-Odoi. And David Luiz, every single outfield player inside the Burnley half as Chelsea try to find a way through. Jorginho out to Azpilicueta, first time ball fired at Pedro. Pedro controls it outside of his right foot, looks for Higuain. Me read that well, gets in the way of the pass and clears it to the halfway line. Here come Chelsea again. Jorginho forward to Higuain, just trying to tickle that round the corner for Pedro. He might get onto his own pass there. Charlie Taylor just got there in time and it's knocked out for a Chelsea throw. Pressure is building here. Pedro lays off to Kovacic. Kovacic finds Emerson steaming forward, edge of the box, hits one with his left foot. Rasping shot flying wide of Tom Heaton's goal and out for the goal kick.
Well, Eden Hazard was outside him begging for the ball just to be slipped inside the box, but Emerson had one thing in mind, and that was to get it out of his feet and stick his laces right through the middle of that ball, and he does that. The power on it's brilliant, and in the end it's not that far wide, and Hazard claps his left back and says that was worth an effort, you didn't have to pass to me every time.
So Tuesday night club tomorrow night, and then Wednesday night Mark Chapman with the programme live from Old Trafford. Massive game. Manchester United off the back of that 4-0 defeat at Everton, chasing a spot in the top four against Manchester City, who need the win to get themselves back ahead of Liverpool by winning that game in hand. Jack Cork on the turn, lobs one forward. Wood tries to bring it down, didn't get a touch, and Kepa grabs it on the edge of the Chelsea area. Had he got a better first touch, he might have been in there.
I tell you what, it comes over his shoulder really high. If he gets a little touch on it, the keeper was in no man's land. He just flicks it over, it's a goal, but couldn't quite get his foot to trap the ball on the ground, and it bounced up and Kepa claimed it. 5 Live Sport at Stamford Bridge. Lee Dixon with us here. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2, on air until 10:30 this evening. Long clearance from Burnley downfield, no one there to collect it. Christensen goes running back inside his own half, and we start the whole pattern again. Jorginho inside the centre circle, lays it off to Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek back to David Luiz. Luiz finds Jorginho again, crosses the halfway line. Hazard and Emerson within a couple of yards of each other. Wisely gives it to Hazard, skins Hendrick, has a go at Lowton, goes speeding past him, down to the byline, pulls it back. Higuain was waiting, and Ben Mee is there to make the block, and behind for a corner. That was just a blur of blue, Hazard there.
Well, the only chance Burnley have got of stopping him when he's running that fast is to drag a couple of supporters on the pitch and try and get them to put a tackle in, because he just goes past people. It's brilliant football.
Hazard, corner, 6-yard box, headed away by Tarkowski. Emerson's here, lets the ball bounce twice. Burnley defenders come out towards him, but he's got time to pick his pass. Hazard still right on that left-hand touchline. Pedro with the ball at his feet, into the box. Pass is blocked by Lowton, comes back to Hazard. Scoop ball to Loftus-Cheek, tries to turn it round the corner. Just glances off his boot, and Tom Heaton dives on it.
Well, that was that ball you're talking about, the little scoop. You don't know he's going to do it because his foot's right at the bottom of the ball. You just expect a little pass, all of a sudden he flicks it past your shoulder and you're turning towards your own goal.
That's the one all the kids will be trying in the back garden tomorrow before they head off to school, if they've seen that twice from Hazard this evening. Good luck with it. Here's McNeil's left-footed cross, blocked by Azpilicueta. Little triangular passing from Chelsea. Kovacic brings it away from their right-back position. Loose pass cut out by Mee to Taylor. Taylor closed down here by Kovacic, and he wins a throw for Burnley. So we're into the last half hour of the game. Both teams needing these points, needing all 3 points if they can. Chelsea to go third and a couple of points clear of Tottenham. Burnley to guarantee another season of Premier League football. Tarkowski inside his own half, seems to have recovered okay from whatever the problem was. Misfires with the pass from deep away to the right-hand side, way over Lowton's head, and out for a Chelsea throw.
There's a big part of his game, Tarkowski, that diagonal pass. I watched him quite a lot when he was playing at Brentford, and he used to ping it 60 yards from right to left constantly, and he's still doing it for Burnley.
David Luiz trying to do the same. Pedro is trying to get on to the end of that ball. Charlie Taylor was in his way. Chelsea fans feel that Pedro was fouled on the edge of the area. I think Pedro made a little more of that than there actually was.
I think that's clever defending. I think there's a little ball over the top. When I say little ball, it's a ping ball from Luiz, and the flight of the ball looked like it was going over the head of Pedro. And it's just one of those when you sort of get in the way of the forward to stop him making his run. I think it's a foul. I really think the referee's missed that. He looked over at his assistant, hoping for a bit of help. He didn't get any, so he decided just to play on.
Burnley free kick into the Chelsea penalty area. Bounces, Emerson controls it and then slices the ball with his left foot down the left-hand side. Hazard can't keep it in. Initially, I thought Taylor just put his body in the way. He actually, cleverly hidden from the ref, had his left arm on him, didn't he? And just brought him down.
And probably the assistants call that because he's a lot closer than the referee, because the ball was pinged from Luis for 50 yards, so difficult for him to make that distance up.
David Luiz shepherds a ball out of play. Ashley Barnes gives him a shove in the back for good measure. That came from another Tarkowski long ball. 17 minutes gone in the second half. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. So Arsenal fans, Tottenham fans, Manchester United fans will be cheering for Burnley here in terms of that race for the top 4. Azpilicueta can't find Higuain. Ben Mee's been in all the right places in this second half for Burnley. This is good football down the left. McNeil gets it back from Taylor, gets his cross in, takes a deflection, and Kepa comes to grab it. Ashley Barnes stuck a foot in, he had to go for it, and Kepa got there just in front of him. Chelsea fans roar their team on as Jorginho brings it forward. Pedro tries to knock it past Tarkowski, wants handball, doesn't get it. Here come Burnley. Wood into midfield, caught quickly on to Dwight McNeil. McNeil just running down a bit of a dead end there, decides to turn and come back and finds Cork across the halfway line. Good game.
It's really end to end now. It's really opened up. Burnley fancy himself to get a win here. McNeil's getting back into this game on this left hand side, testing Azpilicueta, and the football that they're playing, Burnley's pretty decent. They're passing it around well. Chelsea are just trying to hit them on the break at the moment.
Ashley Barnes caught offside. Chelsea free kick. Just over 25 minutes to play. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Leicester and Manchester United, the only 2 teams to win at Stamford Bridge this season in any competition. Hazard shoved to the floor by Matt Lowton. That's one way to deal with him.
Yeah, I'd have been dealing with him all game like that. And the trouble is, if you're not there at the same time as the ball and you're just a little bit late, then you're toast, because his turn is so quick that you're then in no man's land and he'll just go round you. So you've got to be arriving at his feet at the same time as the ball.
Just got a funny feeling he'll make, he may well get the winner. I know that's not a bold prediction, that, because Hazard's the main man. Azpilicueta here into Pedro, quick cross in. Hazard's looking to get on the end of it. That's awkward for Hendrick, facing his own goal, chests it down, overhead clearance away. Chris Wood wins the header, bounces in the centre circle. Christensen nods it down to Jorginho. Kovacic here for Chelsea, back to David Luiz, and Luiz clips it to his left hand side. Come on Chelsea, ringing round Stamford Bridge. Here's Hazard again, running at the Burnley defence, lays it off to Emerson, gives it back to Hazard. Lowton and Hendrick in front of the little Belgian, and he stands them both up, and then he tries to beat Lowton down by the byline, and Lowton's done well, stuck to it, and the ball just got away from Hazard over the dead ball line and behind for the goal kick.
Yeah, they formed a 2-man wall in front of him and just got straight in front and said, right, how are you going to beat 2 of us? You nearly beat 1, but he just dragged the ball out of play.
Tom Heaton, well, he's got to be careful here. Can't take too much time over the restarts. He's on a yellow card. I mean, it would be a bold sending off that. If the referee thought he was wasting time again, you don't often see 2 yellow cards given for time wasting to the same player in the same game. Heaton's cleared it with his right foot down the middle of the pitch. Luiz comes over the back of Ashley Barnes, tumbling forward, but Barnes gets the free kick for Burnley, and Burnley will always be a threat from the set pieces.
Yeah, he felt Luiz coming right over the top of him, so he just leaned in, just bent his back and made him jump over the top and drew the foul, and the referee was spot on in that. Kevin Friend just said it's a foul and it's a dangerous position, a little bit straight. He needs to just try and create a little bit of an angle to put it into the box, but they've certainly got Chelsea worried at these set pieces.
They're going to go far post again. Dwight McNeil floats it into the box, bounces down. Higuain volleys it clear on his left foot. Westwood is there first for Burnley. Hendrick fires a pass back at Lowton. Lowton with a diagonal ball over the top. Barnes first time, into the 6-yard box it goes, and into the arms of Kepa. Wood wasn't too far away from getting onto the end of it.
What a great ball from Lowton, diagonal over to Barnes at the far post, and as you said, he just couldn't quite get the angle to his partner Wood in the 6-yard box.
End to end at the moment. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2, and now it's Chelsea's turn to have a go at Burnley. Emerson to Hazard. Little layoff here to Jorginho, closed down before he could properly get the shot away. It's blocked. Me with a back header away from goal. Emerson's there to leap and nod it to Loftus-Cheek, just inside the area. Brings the ball back out of the box, wide to Emerson, took a touch. Oh, Higuain let it run. Azpilicueta with the shot. Heaton blocks it. Back to Azpilicueta, lobbed across goal, headed away by Cork, comes down to Loftus-Cheek, and he shanks it miles over the bar.
Well, when the ball comes in hard and low from that left-hand side, Higuain just decides to leave it. It's a little bit behind him, and in the end, it's Pedro coming in the far post, makes the save. Makes Heaton make the save. It's pretty easy, straight at the goalkeeper, and they couldn't get the rebound, Chelsea, and in the end it's high, wide and handsome.
So goal kick Burnley midway through the second half. 4 goals in the first half, none as yet since the break. Heaton all in yellow, takes a long run at the goal kick, smashes it downfield with his right foot. Christensen and Kovacic both jump with Barnes. Cork goes racing in to try and win a 50-50. Kovacic collects it for Chelsea, took a little knock as he did so he goes limping off having played the pass. Emerson with a fairly unnecessary step over, I thought, there inside his own half, but he obviously enjoyed it. Gives it to Hazard, and Hazard on the dribble releases Emerson on the left hand side. Players making ground in the middle. One of them's Higuain, takes a touch, left footed shot. Mees there to close it down. Hendrick underneath it, chests it down, and then Tarkowski wasn't bothered, just swings a right boot at that and clears it out for a Chelsea throw.
Well, strangely enough, that was the one Higuain should have let go, because Loftus-Cheek was behind him, just pulling his left foot back ready to strike, and if he'd have let it go, he would have had an easy shot on goal, but he decided to take a touch and the move's gone.
Just looking at Ross Barkley and Olivier Giroud warming up for Chelsea at the moment. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. As it stands, Chelsea heading into that top 4. They're desperate for all 3 points to put them in a stronger position. Azpilicueta to Kovacic, back to Azpilicueta, well worked. Dwight McNeil stayed with Azpilicueta, got his left foot on the ball, and it's a chance for Cork to bring it away, and he just nips through a little gap there between Pedro and Azpilicueta. Onto Westwood, Hendrick, back here to Tarkowski, all the way back to Heaton. Burnley managing this game extremely well at the moment. Wood brings that down brilliantly, because David Luiz was all over him, standing behind him. Charlie Taylor has it on the left, just inside the Burnley half. Westwood through the middle. Hendrick's able to take it in his stride, runs at Luiz. Good tackle from David Luiz. Saw the ball getting away from Hendrick, slid in, and he's got Chelsea going forward. Loftus-Cheek gives it to Hazard. Loughton's got to be worried about this. Hazard running at him. It's going to go on the outside. Loughton does well. Blocks the cross behind for the corner.
Yeah, what he does well there, he shows him down the line. He says, you go down the line, it's a foot race, me and you. I'm not letting you cut inside and onto your right foot. And he did well to get the block in.
David Luiz, Andreas Christensen, into the penalty area they go. Hazard with the corner. Tom Heaton comes and he's there and grabs it with both hands under pressure from Luiz. Burnley fans will be delighted at that.
Oh, it's absolute gold dust from the goalkeeper. The centre halves are looking round, got a challenge for the header, but when your keeper shouts early and comes and claims it like that, it's absolutely brilliant for the defence.
Maurizio Sarri balls in frustration, and Gianfranco Zola sitting next to him has to take the brunt of it. Offside against either Wood or Barnes there as they jump for the long ball. David Luiz wants to go quickly. He says, I can't give that to you, Emerson, and he's annoyed about it. Instead he plays it forward to Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek does the obvious thing, spots the little fella Eden Hazard wide left, and Hazard starts to go through the gears, picks up pace, slows it down, still has the ball at his feet, edge of the box, wide to Emerson. Hazard just drifts away from Hendrick again, gets the ball back from Emerson, right-footed pacey ball across the face of the box. Dwight McNeil is there, sticks a left leg out, blocks it, and you could hear Sean Dyche bawling something at his players there as Chelsea come at them again. David Luiz striding forward up to the edge of the area, left-footed cross. Ben Mees there, gets a right foot on the ball. Hazard jumps for a header. Chris Wood wins one inside the Chelsea half. Loads to do here. Sliding challenge on him by Christensen, and the ball's out for the Burnley throw.
Barnes is down just in that challenge that he just went into. Just took a little knock. I'm not sure where he got, what it was on his knee, or he just needed a rest. Probably experienced play, just lying down, taking a little bit of a breather, letting his defence just restock, just see what's going on. Little chat between the two.
Tell you one thing I did notice from their last game, Lee, it might mean absolutely nothing, but Sean Dyche didn't make a change in the win against Cardiff. It's not that often you see in a Premier League game a manager make no substitutions whatsoever.
No, it is unusual.
So he obviously, he's happy to change it because he's got players on the bench he knows can come in and do a job. You just wonder, I know it's a week ago that game, whether tiredness might take a toll in the last 10 minutes. The other thing I'd say as well, Lee, I wasn't expecting this game tonight. The results this weekend seem to be all over the place. Trying to predict who is going to finish third and who is going to finish fourth, I think is a mug's game, really.
Yeah,
and I'm not even going to ask you to do it.
No, well, Kelly did before. She threw it right at me before, saying, come on.
What did you say then?
I think I fudged
Arsenal,
it.
Obviously.
I think I fudged it. I just went, it's a toss of a coin.
Yeah.
How do you predict that? The fixtures are equally as difficult for all of them, because you can make a case for any of them losing a game here and there. Arsenal got 3 away games. You look at Tottenham's fixtures, you say maybe they've got the easiest fixtures. Man United have got difficult ones. Obviously got City and Chelsea round the corner. And so I've no clue.
No. Nor do I. Massive,
Thanks, Kelly.
Massive week for Manchester United. United City, full commentary, 5 Live Sport, Wednesday night. Mark Chapman on air from 6:30 with the team. Jorginho just inside the Chelsea half. 17 minutes plus added time to play. This would be a fantastic point for Burnley, because they, particularly in the first half, were under a lot of pressure. Chelsea, they've defended poorly. They've not played poorly overall, and if Burnley can get this point, they're as good as safe to my mind, because of the goal difference against Cardiff and the fact Cardiff would have to win all 3 of their remaining games. But Chelsea want the win. Here's Azpilicueta to Pedro with the jet black hair. Kovacic, Jorginho looking for the run of Higuain. Me again read it brilliantly, right on it, and there to block the pass.
What a point it would be as well, because you look at the fixtures they've got coming up. City at home, Everton away, and Arsenal at home. They're tough for Burnley, to say the least, so this point will be so important for Sean Dyche's team.
Chelsea pressure building again. Pedro brings the ball in from the right-hand touchline. A couple of Burnley defenders in front of him again. Jorginho, little short pass to Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek up to the edge of the box, wide to Kovacic. Cross deflected by McNeil, headed away. McNeil is able to volley it away for Burnley. Just feels that Burnley just dropping that little bit deeper. That might be a trick of the eye. Kovacic goes running away from McNeil now, bringing it forward for Chelsea, still going. Hazard's in space on the left. Crowd expectant, low cross in, not his best. Westwood blocks it. Hazard scampers away to collect it. Hendrick in front of him. Beats him without even really trying, still running. Given a little nudge on the edge of the box by Lowton. Not enough for a free kick that. Back it comes to Jorginho. Here's Louise. Louise will shoot with a dipper. Awkward for Heaton. Grabs it with both hands. Just dropping in front of him now.
That's a really good save, That's so hard, because it's so easy to spill that one. It just bounces. He hits it with almost his big toe. He gets like the knuckleball, and he dips right in front of Heaton. Bounces up into his chest. So easy for that to bounce out and just offer a little tap in for the forward.
Azpilicueta's taken a knock in the face from the ball, picked himself up, having gone down to his knees, realised that play was continuing and his team needed him. Throw in for Burnley, and we're into the last 15 minutes of the game. So Chelsea have got to try and find a way through this resolute Burnley defence. In fact, Chelsea might want to defend like Burnley, attack like Chelsea, probably win the game. Inside his own half's Ben Mee. Long ball forward with his left foot. Ashley Barnes on the stretch couldn't quite bring it under control, and it's behind for the Chelsea goal kick. And it's the third Chelsea change. Higuain off, Giroud on, who's had very few chances in the Premier League this season. 2 goals in the Premier League, 10 goals in the Europa League. Higuain with a wonderful finish tonight for Chelsea's second goal. But now Maurizio Sarri is going to turn to Olivier Giroud. Chelsea have made all 3 changes going into the last 15 minutes, and Burnley yet to make one. Slightly different thing for Burnley to deal with, though, in terms of Giroud and Higuain.
Yeah, they've got to be very careful.
when the ball goes to the wide area. Giroud is the pass master at that near post run. He makes a brilliant run to the near post every time the ball goes wide. Gets a lot of goals from that area.
Maurizio Sarri, the Chelsea boss, just getting a little bit edgy. Out by the edge of the pitch, fairly frantic in his movement, chewing away on the old fag ends in that baggy blue tracksuit that he always wears. Throw in for Burnley again. 13 minutes to play.
They're not selling many of them in the shop, are
Well,
they?
the baggy tracksuit.
Not that one.
I've not seen. I mean, you and I were saying before the game that we like the retro football shirt. So you showed me a picture, didn't you, of the old Arsenal team in the early 70s? But that, no, I'm not sure that is catching on.
They've only sold one, or they give one away, and that's to the manager.
Tarkowski plays it wide right. Lowton to Cork. Lowton again, looking for the run of Cork down the right. David Luiz comes across to cover. Cork's going to let him knock that out of play because Burnley will win the throw, and Burnley will definitely be looking now at those restarts, taking their time, getting the ball down in Chelsea's half. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2.
This is the Burnley of old, isn't it? Look, they're very, very set in the way they play, and Sean Dyche has gotten back to their best.
Westwood from the throw. Plays it back out to that right-hand side. Burnley decide to come all the way back to Tarkowski. Giroud closes him down. Did well actually for Chelsea there because Tarkowski's pass intercepted by Hazard. And then the ball is smashed forward. It's on target, this. And Kepa's able to grab it with both hands.
Does that count?
What?
On target.
As a shot on target. Lowton's clearance in the halfway line. Could have been awkward for Kepa. Here come Chelsea again. Loftus-Cheek bringing it forward across the halfway line. Jorginho to Christensen. Striding forward again, you can hear those gravelly tones of Sean Dyche. Azpilicueta's ball in, that's a good cross to the far post, headed away. Ashley Barnes is back there defending. Hazard, as the ball was dropping in mid-air, just flicked a pass around the corner. Loftus-Cheek back to Hazard again on the left, dummies the cross with his right foot, zips down the byline with his left, crosses in, and Giroud made the near post run, couldn't get the touch. It's in the hands of Heaton.
Tarkowski did really well there as the ball's just about to come in. Giroud making that near post run we talked about, and Tarkowski just blocked his run. He had to run round him. By the time he'd run round him, the ball had gone past.
You can see Sean Dyche down there windmilling his arms in the air. Just, he knows, doesn't he, this is a big 10 minutes for Burnley. They've done really well so far tonight, but they've still got a fair bit to do to try and get this precious point to take them to the magic mark of 40. Cardiff on 31 would have to win all 3 games to get themselves to 40. Burnley, of course, could still pick up points in their remaining games. So the point we're trying to make is we think they're going to be okay, but they won't want to let it slip here in the last 10 minutes of the game. Loftus-Cheek in front of his own penalty area, on to Hazard. Hazard is going to run from deep here, and Hendrick is just thinking, oh my word, what can I do here? Hazard again just goes gliding past him. Gives it to Emerson, back to Hazard, edge of the box. Will he try the shot? No, on the dribble. Back to Emerson. Emerson into the penalty area, Burnley very deep, crosses blocked. Hazard with his back to goal inside the box, lays it all the way back here to Loftus-Cheek. Dummies a shot on the right foot, little back heel ball to Jorginho. Is the Burnley defence going to crack? Hazard's ball in, Ben Mee is there again and heads it away and out for a throw to Chelsea.
Oh, that line has held fast, hasn't it? Every time the ball comes in the box, Tarkowski and Mee are about 5 yards apart, straight in the middle of the goal. That's where the headers are going to come in, and we're not moving. We're just going to wait for you to come to us.
Hazard with his right foot, more lofted pass this time, trying to switch play to the right-hand side. Finds Azpilicueta to Pedro. Pedro's low ball. Back to Jorginho, chipped into the area. Mee is there again for Burnley. Azpilicueta's ball intercepted. Jorginho lays it off to Kovacic. Kovacic's ball to the far post. Giroud trying to get on the end of it. No, it wasn't. It was Loftus-Cheek, and he did get a left foot on it, but he knocked the ball back across goal, and no one could tuck it in for Chelsea. And the ball will go out for the Chelsea throw as Ashley Barnes barges into Kovacic, knocks him over, doesn't get the free kick, and Kovacic turns and argues the toss with Barnes.
Oh, that was a fabulous ball into the box, and Loftus-Cheek pulled it back, crossed right across the 6-yard box, and he's got to be asking his centre forward, where are you? Because if I pull a ball back like that, I expect you to be running in and tapping it into an open goal.
Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. 9 minutes to play plus added time. Stamford Bridge getting a little bit raucous here as Pedro stopped in his tracks on the edge of the box, and again Chris Wood is there, had no option other than just to hoof it downfield, and kill 10 seconds of the game. Kepa gives it to David Luiz. Kepa pretty much a spectator in the last 10 minutes. Here's Kovacic. Again, that thunderous chant of Chelsea ringing round the stadium. Hendrick blocks the ball forward from Kovacic. Hazard says, give it to me. Little give and go possibly here with Loftus-Cheek. Back to Jorginho. Wide to Emerson. Where's Hazard now? He's drifted into the penalty area. Emerson's cross blocked. And behind for another Chelsea corner.
It's funny, isn't it? Every time somebody else other than Hazard gets the ball, we always look to where Hazard is. Where is he? Where are they going to pass it to? He just drifted into the box then, as you said, just seeing if he can get any sniff of a goal, but he's now taking the corner. He's like action man. He's all over the place.
Hazard holds his right arm in the air. A couple of short steps to the ball, crossed into the near post. Burnley had two defenders there. Barnes gets a header on it, back to Hazard. Burnley got to be careful again. Hazard heading for the byline, fizzes it across goal beyond David Luiz, and the ball goes out for a throw into Burnley in their left back position. Just finally heard back. I texted our football correspondent John Murray at half-time just to check whether Manchester United-Chelsea was our commentary on Sunday, and he's only just got back to me and he's apologised. He says, I'm sorry, I've been busy playing cat bingo.
Playing what?
Cat bingo. Have you not played cat bingo? I've got dog bingo, and you can get dinosaur bingo. Well, it's just you don't play it with numbers. You have different breeds of cat or different breeds of dog.
Moving swiftly on.
Yeah. So that's what John Murray's up to this evening, hopefully with the football on as well. David Luiz plays the ball across the halfway line to Emerson. 7 minutes left. 2-2. Giroud trying to win a header. The ball's just beyond him. He did get his head to it. Couldn't find a teammate. Lowton clears with his right foot. David Luiz chests it down, and Chelsea will have to start again inside their own half. So Emerson across to Christensen. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Kovacic to Azpilicueta. Back to Kovacic. Azpilicueta wide on the right hand side. Pedro makes a run, doesn't use him. Goes for Kovacic again. Now Azpilicueta gets his cross in, blocked by Charlie Taylor. It's been resolute defending from Burnley in this second half, and it's gone out for another Chelsea throw.
I just looked as that ball was coming in, tried to be a cross, and there was 9 Burnley players in the box waiting to head it out.
It's a Burnley wall that Chelsea have got to try and break down. The point definitely more precious for Burnley, I think more valuable than it will be for Chelsea. Chelsea will have played a game more than United, Tottenham and Arsenal. Azpilicueta's first time ball in. Giroud will try and attack that. Tarkowski is there. McNeil's got to be careful. Took a touch. Azpilicueta closed in. Hooks it away with his right foot. Ashley Barnes now caught in possession. Kovacic gets away from him. Barnes tried to foul him. Kovacic's ball into the near post. Again. Right place, right time. Clears it away. Chris Wood gets a touch on it. Hazard knew where that was going. Comes sprinting back and collects it for Chelsea. I'm doing the countdown for the Burnley fans here will be nervously listening. Just over 5 minutes to play. 2-2. Azpilicueta. Hazard with a little Rabona cross into the near post. Giroud tried to control it, turn and volley. Wasn't able to do so. Burnley have cleared. Here's Luiz. Referee almost got in the way there. Loftus-Cheek gets it though. Crossing looking for Hazard. Just relentless Chelsea pressure at the moment. Kovacic's ball, not the best. Floated high in the air, and it's an easy one for Tom Heaton to grab.
Yeah, it just came off the outside of his boot. He wanted a bit more bend on it, but he didn't get it, and it just flew to Heaton, and somebody else has gone down. It's Barnes has gone down again. Another injury, or is it another bit of cramp? He's just going to waste a little bit more time. The clock's ticking down. But Ben Mee's going to need a Anadin or a paracetamol after this game, because he's headed every single ball that's gone in the box.
That other little vignette there from Hazard. So a ball was played to him, Lee, down by the byline on the right hand side, and rather than cross it first time, he sort of stopped, spun and hit the Rabona cross all in one, and it was a decent cross as well. That wasn't for show, was it? I mean,
no, it's a trick he's used quite a lot of the time, and he's got every trick in the book, but his best trick is just squaring the player he's playing against, squaring him up, and once you get both your feet squared up to him, he can go either side then, and then once he can go either side, you might as well just walk off the pitch.
Who was the best player you played against for doing that as a winger?
John Barnes.
Was it?
Yeah, he used to, because he dribbled mainly with his left foot, but he could go left and right, and that little left and right movement just changes your body angle, and in the end, once he gets you squared up, then you're running backwards as well. You end up falling over and making an absolute fool of yourself. Done it many a time, as you've seen.
4 minutes to play. Lee Dixon with us at Stamford Bridge. Been a little modest there, I think, as Heaton clears with his right foot. Burnley closing in, or it'll be a fabulously earned point for them. Went ahead in the game. Chelsea then scored 2 in the space of 3 minutes to get 2-1 ahead. Chelsea's defending, though, for the goals they conceded, we'll come back to that at the end of the game, was pretty shambolic, and it may well cost them tonight. 3 minutes plus added time remaining. Hazard just starts to cruise in from the left, gets it from Emerson, little drag back to himself, beats Westwood up to the edge of the box, wide to Emerson, back to Hazard. You get the feeling Hazard's thinking, do you know what, I'm just going to have to do this on my own. Hazard to Azpilicueta, wide to Pedro. Pedro's floated ball, Giroud will attack that between 2 defenders. Last touch came off a Burnley player, another corner for Chelsea.
Well, it's just that position in the 2 centre-backs. Again, Lee and Tarkovsky just in the right place. They know the cross is coming in. Why go running out and being far post, near post? Just stay in the middle of the goal, the ball will come to you.
88th minute of the game, countless corners for Chelsea. Hazard into the near post again, flicked on by Loftus-Cheek, floats to the far post. Who was that falling? Christensen falling backwards. I just wondered whether he'd been tugged. He's not appealing for a penalty, and Burnley have another player down injured. Now Chelsea fans clearly, as you can hear, don't believe that he's injured. Point being, Kevin Friend will stop the watch and will play the time that needs to be played. I guess it does break up rhythm though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It breaks up rhythm. It just stops Chelsea starting another attack. All the Chelsea players are having a word with Kevin Friend saying get him up, but he's lying down, the trainer's on and the clock's ticking, and he's just saying to Giroud, Kevin Friend, it's okay, I'll add the time on. But little near post flick there, and Christensen just got blocked at the far post. I don't think it was anything in that. They just crowded him out and the ball went out the play.
So another stoppage in play. Sean Dyche chats to Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes. He's yet to make a substitution, so again I go back to that. I mean, I do not know the last time in the Premier League a manager in back-to-back games has not brought a substitute onto the field. Not massively interesting that, but for boring commentators like me, it's the kind of thing that...
Not being funny, I haven't even seen him warming up. Are you sure he's got any?
He may not have brought
Maybe he left them all back on the coach, back in Burnley.
Right, where are we with the clock? We're ticking over into the 90th minute of the game. Dwight McNeil is back on his feet. Tom Heaton will take the goal kick. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Oh, Ashley Barnes went down hard there. Christensen came through the back of him, whacked him in the back of the head, and his face slammed into the turf as well.
Yeah, the centre forward, you're going to get quite a few of those in your career. And the centre half comes right through the back of you, knows it's coming. Oof. It's a foul, there's no doubt about that, because he leans right in the back of Ashley Barnes, and he's been challenged by Kovacic. He doesn't see him coming over the top, and that'll have hurt a bit. But this is, again, set piece. Are they going to run the clock down and knock it into the corner? Well, certainly Sean Dyche I think he's told me knock it in the corner, waste a bit of time. Yeah. That's exactly where it goes.
That's what they've done. If they get the win, remember, they're definitely safe this evening. But the point also extremely valuable. They'll be as good as safe. And we are heading towards added time at Stamford Bridge on 5 Live Sport. On air until 10:30 tonight. Chelsea or Burnley have 5 minutes left to try and find a winner. Feels more likely that Chelsea are going to be pressing for that. Hazard with a loose pass, unusual for him, trying to force the issue. Dwight McNeil intercepts, and again, not an option forward, just plays the ball downfield into space. Kepa comes racing out to collect it for Chelsea. Can they find a late winner to put them third in the Premier League, or is it going to be a weekend where we see Tottenham lose, Arsenal lose, Manchester United lose, and Chelsea held at home by Burnley? Azpilicueta's right-footed ball deep to the far post. Emerson was coming in to try and get on the end of that. Hendrick read it, nodded it away, out for a Chelsea throw on the left-hand side. Almost a minute of the 5 minutes added time has already been eaten up. David Luiz, 35 yards out, half thought about a speculative long ranger, decided against it, and then actually played quite a poor pass, which Kovacic had to go scurrying off to fetch. Gives it to Pedro. Now back to Jorginho, looking for an option ahead of him. Loftus-Cheek in a bit of space there, edge of the box, works it onto his right foot, back to Kovacic, lays it off to Jorginho, wide to Pedro. Pedro just outside the area. Azpilicueta's cross. Charlie Taylor flying in for Burnley, blocks it, and behind for another Chelsea corner. 2-2.
Well, how many times have we seen Charlie Taylor just like flying over to this right hand side and put a block on?
Hazard then gets ready to take the corner. Pedro's offering him the option short. I don't think they've taken one short this evening yet. Remember, Giroud on the field will be a danger man. Cross into the near post, headed away by McNeil. Burnley had two men there. Now a chance for Burnley to break. Westwood has it, handball Pedro. And Pedro, having handled it initially, knew he was going to get booked and done, and actually just grabbed the ball with both hands to stop Burnley taking the free kick quickly. And Westwood is now down and has cramp, apparently. Chelsea fans again unhappy with that. Giroud's unhappy with that, comes racing over to have a word with Kevin Friend. Chelsea would do the same thing, wouldn't they?
No wonder they've got cramp. No subs.
3 minutes remaining of added time. Westwood is still down, struggling to get to his feet. Jeers and whistles from the Chelsea fans. They were so sharp at the start of this game, Chelsea. Yes, they went one behind, but the football going forward looks so incisive. It's the defending that's cost them tonight. And Burnley wait to take the free kick. Just over 2 minutes of added time remaining, and Burnley are killing this game beautifully at the moment. Bernley with his left foot floats it forward, just says to Ashley Barnes, have a go at winning that. Pedro rather inadvisedly comes flying in. Barnes wins another throw for Burnley. This must be so frustrating for Chelsea. They just cannot get the ball and get moving.
No, and you have to take your hat off to Burnley. They've got the line right, the back four position right, the midfielders work their socks off. The two boys up front have caused all sorts of problems, especially for set pieces and long balls. They've put their shoulder in, they've won free kicks, they've won another one here in a dangerous position, but
Chelsea losing the plot. Kovacic pushing and shoving. Azpilicueta is trying to separate things here. He's pushed Jack Cork. Cork's got the ball in his hands. Chelsea are frustrated because they desperately need the win. Burnley running the game down beautifully. Kovacic has lost his head. David Luiz has lost it now and shoved Ashley Barnes.
David Luiz just had Ashley Barnes round the throat. He's got to be very, very careful lifting your hands like that.
Just frustration, isn't it, Lee? Just boiling over.
Well, this is they've got a free kick in a really dangerous position to whip the ball in the box. But
Sarri's come down the line to try and sort it out. Oh, he's having a go at Ashley Barnes now.
Well, they're all having a go at Ashley Barnes. He won't mind. That's what he's there for.
Maurizio Sarri now has the fourth official, Roger Rees, by the arm. Roger Rees is trying to get him back to his technical area. That is 30 yards down the touchline. Kevin Friend comes over and says, Maurizio, my friend, you are going to have to head back to the dugout or you're going to get yourself sent off. Jorginho wants Kevin Friend to get on with the game, but it's his manager that's causing the hold-up at the moment. Burnley are now fiddling about with where to take the free kick from. I mean, this is playing beautifully into Burnley's hands. I don't know what Sarri's doing.
Sean Dyche got a massive big smile on his face.
Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. Azpilicueta's complaining that Burnley have moved the free kick. Oh, this is getting ridiculous. This is like kids in the playground. Westwood picks it up and moves it a yard forward. Azpilicueta grabs it and moves it a yard back. Westwood picks it up and does the same. Kevin Friend's got to get a grip here, but Burnley know what they're doing because my stopwatch tells me the 5 minutes minimum added time is now up, so it just depends now what Kevin Friend's going to do. Scoop ball from Charlie Taylor. He's gone all Eden Hazard. What was interesting there, though, Lee, was that they didn't try and swing one in and score a winner. They're happy with the point.
Yeah, they know the point keeps them up. Mathematically not, but they're safe. There's no mistake about that.
Throw-in for Chelsea, 2-2, so we're beyond the 5 minutes of added time, but there is going to be a little bit more, and listen to those roars from the Chelsea fans as Emerson brings it forward down the left-hand side. Possibly one more chance. Here's Loftus-Cheek. Burnley with everyone behind the ball. Jorginho wide to Emerson. He's got Hazard outside him. What can Hazard do? Will he try and do it on his own? Runs at Lowton and Hendrick. Still going. Little back heel. Finds Emerson. Emerson looking for the cross into the near post. It's blocked. Comes back to Emerson. He lets it go, and it's behind for the Chelsea corner. Probably the last chance of the game.
Yeah, it definitely is. They block the cross again. Burnley, how many times have they done that? They've got one more to block, and it's from the corner.
Hazard with his right foot into the 6-yard box. It goes bouncing around. Dangerous for Burnley here. Luiz lays it up, and Burnley hack it away. Kevin Friend blows the full-time whistle. Sean Dyche punches the air in delight. He knows that point means that Burnley are pretty much as good as safe, and they have a fourth consecutive season of Premier League football on the way, because it would take a miracle for Cardiff to catch them now. Chelsea do get themselves into the top four. They really needed all 3 points tonight, particularly after Tottenham, Arsenal and Manchester United all slipped up. but they couldn't get through the Burnley wall. And I tell you what, Lee Dixon, we better just keep an eye on David Luiz and Ashley Barnes, because Luiz went for a little bit of after. Oh, and it's all going off outside the tunnel at the moment between the two sets of coaches and substitutes. So something's been said, who knows what. Frustration running high, particularly for the Chelsea players and fans. You heard the jeers and whistles at the end of the game. What a fabulous result for Burnley though, Lee, first and foremost.
Absolutely brilliant. They gave everything in that game, and you have to say they took the game to Chelsea. They had a game plan, just suck Chelsea in, try and use their long ball, and also their set pieces worked brilliantly well. They took the lead, and then you thought when it went to 2-1 that would be the end. Chelsea's quality was absolutely telling, but they stuck to it. They got the second goal, and in the second half their line, their midfield and their forceful endeavours up front was really what Sean Dyche would have asked for his team, and Chelsea just fell short. They couldn't find a way past them.
Kevin Friend is being roundly booed as he leaves the field. I think the Burnley players actually getting a bit of stick from the Chelsea fans as well for the way they ran the game down in the second half, but were the boot on the other foot, Chelsea would have done exactly the same. And actually, Kelly, just looking at the Burnley players, they are celebrating. It's not over the top, but they know they're as good as safe. They're on 40 points. Cardiff are on 31. Cardiff would have to win all 3 games, but Burnley's goal difference is so much better. Burnley will be a Premier League team next season, I'm sure of it.